building leadership pipeline, and finding the outliers. I'm sure each one of you must have been through the journey, or you might be, attempting a journey for your colleagues in your own respective businesses. Now, before I hand over the platform to Megha, let me have the pleasure of introducing her. She is currently the Chief Human Resource Officer at Godrej Properties Limited. And, Megha joined Godrej in 2014 as the lead for rewards and performance for Godrej Industries and Associates, and has worked across different group companies. She took on the role of HR head for the animal feed business of Godrej Agrovet in 2017 and was instrumental in driving strategic business priorities, including organization effectiveness, strengthening sales and manufacturing team capabilities, and ensuring smooth labor relations. Megha moved to Godrej Properties in 2020 to lead HR business partnering and organization effectiveness. Prior to joining Godrej, Megha worked with JP Morgan India from 2010 to 2014. And as Associate Vice President, India Performance and Rewards Team, she was responsible for compensation and benefits initiatives for the India business and partnered with all business units of the bank. She has also worked at Britannia Industries and Axo Nobel Coatings India. She has a bachelor's degree in engineering from Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, and an MBA in human resource from Symbiosis Center for Management and Human Resource Development, Pune. And she has got many awards, and she also happens to be one of the most sought after speaker on this area. And absolute pleasure to have you, Megha, especially on Saturday evening. And I'm sure all the participants will have a great and I would say actionable insights from the point of view of and on this topic and related to this topic as well. Over to you, Megha.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Chaudhary, for the introduction. I look forward to speaking to you all today. This is a very, very relevant topic, and all of us in HR are really struggling with this particular insight. Uh, uh, as I speak today for the first 30 minutes or so that I will be talking, I would be trying to share what we are doing here at Godrej Properties. This is all actual work that is happening. I hope that you all are able to find it actionable and relevant. I'm extremely happy to take questions at the end of the session. So with that, should I start?
Yes, Megha, absolutely.
So this is something which exists at properties itself, where our is also create a talent marketplace on and absolutely to take you through journey. While every one of you would have heard about Godrej, would have heard about Godrej products. Some of you may not know the business and how the business is placed. In the real estate, we are a residential sector. We are an organization who's time. I have data here to give you a sense of the business. We have grown around 2 times in the last 5 years by 2x. Our profits have grown by 4x in the last headcount by around 2 times in the last 5 years. We are third in market cap in the sector. From a sustainability perspective, we are really growing very fast. As the year ends, all of these numbers are getting multiplied again. Based organization. What does that mean? For us, that's how our MD and CEO has coined it. And it means like this year where it talks about headcount getting double in 5 years. So I had written 2,400 we ended last year at. We are already at 2,900, right? So that's the kind of in a year a 20% increase in headcount that we have experienced in this year. That is why when we started this, I said that a very pertinent question that we are dealing with. So this additional 20% headcount, how do you get it into the organization? Because it is the most crucial thing about running this business and ensuring that the business targets are met. Now, what is the problem actually? The first problem, and it's not only about my sector. I'm sure a lot of you will be also able to relate, is first talent ability. Most of our sectors are talent scarce sectors. Sectors like technology, while a lot of engineers come out, skill is a problem. Uh, for example, if you like civil, you take a sector like chemical. Even if you have some engineers coming, the number is not large. When a civil engineer completes his or her civil engineering, working with a real estate developer is probably not one of the only options that the person has. The person is also looking to do an MBA. The person is looking to go for further studies, and in a batch where already civil engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical, electrical, some of them are so limited and they have options to go to and analytics, etc. The inflow of new talent in the industry is very limited, and we're talking about the best students of the class because everyone is trying to finally compete for that. Right, it also gets magnified from the place that some sectors are not talent magnates, right? So when a IITian is passing out, even though the IITian is from a civil engineering background, does it come to his mind to say that I want to join a real estate firm and these are like the five players, versus when the person looks at a company like Google and the person says, okay, I want to join these FANG companies, whether it's Facebook, Meta, or Amazon, all of these things. So there are very few organizations in the sector who enjoy that kind of talent magnetism, like organization, and that is another reason for talent availability being so scarce. The second piece is that we are not building capabilities. All of us in most of the organization are and in the we do are in the process of buying talent. We are not essentially in the process of building talent. Now, let me give you an example of organizations which have built talent. Let's take the example of Infosys. When Infosys started in the late 90s and in the early 2000s, there were not enough engineers in the market who could have supported the growth. Infosys established campuses where students could be taken in, could be given a strong, dedicated course, and they go up to become skilled, handle the role that Infosys and so many other organizations get. Infosys actually became talent first. There's very few organizations and sectors who are actually doing that today's buying all this talent which is scarce for the reasons that buying talent difficult, cost of the talent is with multiple offers. Right, so that's the second piece, and so a combination of those two pieces, and the which is the supply of it and the building capabilities, which is the demand part of it, kind of help brings us to a place where we are not able to identify talent, and the problem magnifies as you go at senior levels. At junior levels, you still have a lot of entry level talent, still a major percentage of entry level talent coming in, but by the time you come to mid level and then to a senior leadership level, you actually don't have talent coming in. Now, here, Godrej Properties, we are an internally grown organization and we deeply pride ourselves on one. So, 90 management committee is internally grown. In the last 4 years, we have had 6 new management committee positions formed in the organization. 5 of them we have recruited internally. We have promoted internal people, and only for one position we went out to hire. The management executive committee, which we call as the zonal executive committee, almost 85% of our talent is internally growing. So we really deeply believe in building our own talent, and that journey that I want to talk about here on how we are and how we are succeeding. So, a lot of times business people tell me when as I have been leading HR, that we are seen as a training ground. Employees join us, they learn from us, and they go and join other organizations, because other organizations are happy to poach our employees at a much higher salary. We said that is something that we cannot avoid, and we should actually start taking pride in it. So at Godrej Properties, we believe becoming industry shapers rather than followers. We want to be the talent exporter of the sector and build a talent marketplace at the sector. This will not only help us, first, it's going to help us support our quantum business growth journey, but also the sector at large, which is already talent scarce. What are some of the talent tenets of Godrej Properties? Firstly, I spoke about building talent for the sector. And while it has multiple facets, I'll talk about two here. One is diversity matters, and the second is building capability matters. I'll talk about what we are doing on both of these aspects here as today evening. The second I spoke about in the earlier part of the section also, that near return, we will take early bets on people. Again, helps to grow talent from within. And we will be effective managers, because that is the reason that people leave us, because respect matters, right? So these are some of the tenets that we hold here at Godrej Properties. To talk to your first one, how talent? Give you a sense, almost our employee base has grown by 50% in the last 2 years. To give you a sense of numbers, we have onboarded almost 2,000 plus new hires in the last 2 years. We operated on two things, and let me tell you, what is the thinking that we operate on. We are operating on the thinking that we are going to build talent. Building talent means that we are going to get new talent to the sector. Now, when we're looking at new talent, we are looking at talent coming from campus programs. 20% of our total hiring is coming from campus programs, right? Now, when you're looking to hire people which are, coming with a previous background, you cannot say no to diversity. So we actually concentrate in a huge matter on hiring diversity. We bring in a lot of women, we bring in a lot of community hires from the LGBTQ community. To give you a sense, out of the 2000 hires that we have had, almost 40% has been from different communities, right? This is very different, and this needs a lot of sponsorship from business leaders also, because typically you would always talk about X years of experience in the real estate sector or in your sector, with not only sectorial experience, but exactly this amount of experience in this kind of role, in this kind of function. And it's practically, when you go out into the market, you will practically find it very difficult to map the role. So we are saying that the talent that we are hiring, you have to take a bet on their potential. They are not coming as ready, and that is one of the major changes that we continue to bring in into the organization. We also program on Come Back. We actually have a very strong alumni program where we reach out to employees who have left us in the past, and we invite them back to join us in the organization. So this is the one of the ways that we have tried to bring talent in the organization. Just to give you a sense of how people are doing, and let's talk about women. We have many more years of experience of hiring women talent. When we look at our promotion data, we actually see that women getting promoted at the same rate as men do. When we look at our performance data, we look at women getting ratings, the same top two ratings at the same percentage as men do. So there is a fair share that exists. And I'm not talking about any kind of quota system. I'm talking about a pure play, rating process. Ratings get normalized, a standard bell curve is followed. And in that case, also women are able to, do this. Now, I'm talking from a sector which is, you wouldn't have so many women entering civil engineering. You will not have so many women actually continuing to work in the sector. So all of these women that we hire are relatively, lesser experienced than men. That whole on betting on potential. When you bet on potential and you give people the atmosphere and the culture to perform, you would actually see them doing your future talent in the organization. And that's where that's what I mean when I say that we are building talent for the sector. The second part that I want to talk about building talent is building capabilities in house. And this is our in house learning academy, which we call GPL Alchemy. Uh, so our learning academy is unlike what the learning programs that a lot of organizations follow, where the I to actually go out and probably get a vendor to do a few programs for you. The place where a learning academy is placed is that it is deeply connected to the business. What I have here on the slide is what Godrej Properties business strategy looks like. This has been defined by the MD and CEO. The quantum growth phase, which has 5 pillars, it is very clearly defined, and our learning academy actually, pertains to solving for each one of these. It's called the GPL Alchemy. We initiated it around a year ago, and I would just want to video to give you a sense of what and where we are, and then talk about a bit.
Megha, the screen went blank. Are you trying?
Hold
Is
on.
it?
Just a second. It's not getting shared.
No,
I
no, we can't see it. Thank you,
Yeah,
Anand. I think it's just getting loaded, Anand. Just give us just a minute.
just a second. Maybe I will try and share the screen again.
Yeah.
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah. Now I can see it. Maybe you can just
Okay.
play it and let's see.
Okay. I'll Can you see my slides again now?
Yes, Megha.
Yes. Yeah. So, the video is an in-house video that we used for in-house internal circulation. The whole idea is that we have created programs which are essentially talking about what needs to be done at Godrej Properties to succeed. For example, if the program is on profitability and asset management, the chief strategy officer has gotten together with us profitably. We got faculty from the Harvard School to work with us on this program. Uh, and the faculty of their own growth. We also integrated the real estate perspective, also integrated the British properties perspective. So there's a project director can work to enhance the profitability of their project, right? So that is the way the learning academy has been formed. The whole idea is that you get talent which is when you're building your talent and you're not getting the exact replica of experiences in the market, you build talent through building their capability. So you put them through these world class programs which tell them what needs to be done at the role, and then they are well equipped to go out there and start performing. And so this learning academy has become an important part of how we are running business and building talent for our future. We have a lot of assessment programs built in, which also gives us a sense of how the internal talent is performing and doing on the and during these programs. The third aspect that I wanted to talk about was retaining talent. And I wanted to say here that we are actually working very hard to retain talent. To give you a sense, and a lot of you may be dealing with the same kind of constraints, we were dealing around anywhere between 20 to 30%. And to just give you a number, that if I continued to bear the same attrition that I had the last year, I would have lost around 300 more employees in the organization. So this year we reduced our attrition, and we have followed a very comprehensive retention plan, which is a four-pronged approach. The first one was correct, where we said that we will proactively go to people's compensation levels, roles, everything that needs to be done. We will take a clean shot at it and ensure that everyone is at the right comp and etc. And it's been a journey. It's not been 1 year. It's been the last 3 years that we have taken to reach there. But correct has been the first lever of the journey. The second was connect. We are connecting with our people on a very proactive basis. The hypothesis that is going in there is that once the person has made up his mind to leave the organization, you can no longer go out there and retain that person, or it's difficult. Uh, right, so we have invested a lot in terms of proactive attrition management techniques. So we have a predictive analysis tool, a predictive attrition analysis tool which throws out who are likely to be less engaged. We have a continuous listening program with a vendor where a chat goes to them on a real time basis. And if we see that a person has not responded well on the chat, we go out and listen to our people. So, that's how the connect piece and the listen. So I covered a bit of the listen piece as well, which is our continuous listening programs to understand what must be disengaging people. And finally, focus on learning, which is focused career and development programs, which I also spoke about, the alchemy, GPL alchemy workshops that we are doing. So we almost on every week basis look at the people who are coming under a predictive uh, how they are giving continuous and then basis. Obviously, in addition to uh, uh, mechanisms also exist, right? But the whole purpose has now become to retain people there and have a lot of proactive measures coming in. The piece which is extremely important to my heart is the talent room, and this is our story of build taking early bets on people. Now, what did we do here? We actually went out to our zones, our teams, and we asked the managers of people to come and showcase their best talent. This was the key experiment where we where the manager becomes the talent sponsor. What happens is, typically what happens is that you have a role that comes up, and the people who may be probably ready now itself to take the role, or maybe in the next 6 months, or maybe ready in the next 1 year or 1.5 years to take the role. But A, the manager doesn't find the person ready to give a new role, and the manager to let his or her role is kind of getting vacant, and the manager doesn't want to his team to get these. So we completely changed the activity and we said that let's make the manager the sponsor. And we brought in a lot of pride and ownership for a manager to come and praise their talent and all reward them on bringing their talent to the place. It was literally like a Shark Tank concept where they're coming and pitching their talent to us, right? What happened because of this, and I have just given you real numbers here, that at two particular levels, and I'm talking about just two grades in the organization, we were able to identify 266 people who can actually be considered for taking additional and new roles in the organization. And on the right hand side, I have put in a number of people who were ready now up till 12 months, right? Which means that they can take up the role in time. 148 of them, which is 56% of this population, can actually take up the role right now itself. Right now, what happens actually most of the times, even though you have these 148 people in the organization, because of we not being able to identify this population, we tend to go out and look out in the market and hire people from there, and then we get into that whole struggle of not finding people, etc. And what is worse, that these 148 people will finally leave us because they did not find a career with us in the organization. What was even more heartwarming was to find that 15% of this cohort actually turned out to be women. And this was again completely voluntarily done exercise just to give a platform and to create a culture of coming and sharing your headcount with us. So these are some of the experiences that I wanted to share as part of my work, that we are doing here at Godrej Properties. One extremely important point, actually two important points that I wanted to share is that talent management is serious business. It is not the job of the HR leader alone. If you see the diagram put here, the biggest job is about the MD and the CEO and how the culture is created in the organization. And with them, we have the HR leader and the business leader working very closely and in tandem to ensure that we are able to, provide our talent the right experiences that we need. It becomes extremely important in everything that I spoke about, whether it is about hiring, whether it is about retaining, whether it is about ensuring careers. It is extremely important to manage progress. So, talent is not an exercise that you can do once in a year. This is an exercise that needs catch ups on a much periodic basis. At Godrej Properties, we have monthly catch ups with senior leadership to try and see how our talent is doing. So, this brings me to the end of what I wanted to share with all of you. I'm happy to take your questions from here. Thank you. I'll remove my screen.
Thank you, Megha. I think we have quite a few questions. Let me start with the first one of them. This is a question from Mr. Anand Jaiswal, and his question is for talent building. Is written in brackets. Pull, you go by your existing employee. For talent buying, you bring from outside. What if you have to go again for a talent building that's reinvest to the talent bot?
Yes, so thank you so much for the question, and it's a very pertinent question. Of course, talent that is bought is also put through the GPL Alchemy programs to bring them up to speed. There is a lot of, so, if you have to be the market leader and have a kind of speed and quantum growth that we are looking at, a lot of times you want talent which is coming from outside to also unlearn. One. and be skilled enough to run fast to deliver, right? And that is why all our talent, even externally hired, necessarily goes through the GPL Talent Academy, the Learning Academy, which is the GPL Alchemy programs. So we do invest in building them as well.
Thank you, Megha. This is a question, quite longer one. That is, but it is from Mr. Mahibul Alam. And this question is: I am from a CBRE, and I'm site lead, and the biggest challenge I'm facing is from the co-working spaces, which I'm sure you other players are also facing. Our attrition was something around 10 to 15%, and now it has gone up to 30 to 35% this year. We are doing all our best to retain them, but the cash rich startups are not allowing us to keep them in our trained task force. And they are heavy on poaching from CBRE or JLL likewise. Thank you, Mahibul.
I completely empathize with you. We have been in that place, especially after COVID. We saw a lot of talent leaving us. I'll also give you a sense of where we are. We are the only all India player, and as our players our comparators are expanding in another other cities. We become the source of hiring talent, and that's why exactly we had to go the route of talent strategy that I shared with you. We realized that there was no point fighting for the same limited talent. You had to change the game. You had to go out and create your own talent and create a system internally. Now, what we feel that we have been able to just do very well is to, within a year or two itself, set up the GPL academies, set up hiring processes and systems to be able to bring these talent requirements up to speed. Trust me, we have been there, and this has been our experiments with the talent strategy, and for us, it has worked so well.
Great. The other question related to the talent, Mega, is that how do you define the talent? Is it from the point of view of leadership? Is it from the point of view of business potential, or is it from the point of view of somebody's skill set, or is it purely from the point of view of ethical side? Because given the all said and done, please permit me to say this. I think real estate in this country, or like any other country, I think what we are witnessing in China, I think it's going deep south now as we are talking. So, like any other country, in this country also, the real estate is always looked with the different lenses altogether, right? Now, given that is the nature, because that's a not so much you and I can do about it, that's the nature of the industry itself. Now, having said that, how do you define the talent when you're looking at the talent part of it? And with what lens do you see? Is it from the business side? Is it from the the leadership side, or is it from the specific skill side? The skills. It can be sales, negotiation, etc., etc. Or is it from from the point of view of ethical side? Because somebody who wants to be the right side of the law, then the wrong side of the law kind of thing. So what lens do you use to spot the talent, especially in this industry, Megha?
This is a very, very good question, and thank you so much for asking for it. We actually use all the four lenses, and I will explain how we use this. Now, Godrej is a name that signifies trust, right? We all have know about the Godrej locks and the Godrej safes, and the reason why consumers trust is because it is Godrej, and they know that in this sector as well, we are a player which is out there to make a difference and to run business in an ethical manner. So the piece around ethics is actually the baseline of how we do. We have let a lot of our best talent be terminated from the organization if they were found doing unethical practices. Now, this goes right from the junior most level to the senior most level. And the organization has been completely 100-0 on some of these. We are non tolerant completely to our to any employee who doesn't follow the values of ethics, integrity, and respect. So our code of conduct and integrity, that is a complete the basic foundation of how we look at talent. Now, after that, as you rightly kind of put it there, all the three aspects are there. We look at talent from two aspects. We have the leadership behaviors and we have the functional behaviors, both of them. So the person has to have, so functional behaviors are studied through the skills that the person brings in, and the functional capability and the performance on the job, right? So firstly, the person has to be performing on the current job to be considered as talent for future and future leadership, right? So that is the first premise that we operate on. From a leadership size as a side, we have the Godrej capability factors that have been defined in the organization, and as part of our mid-year, part of our annual review process, every time we are evaluating people on both the business competencies and all on the business performance, and also on the leadership competencies. We in fact have gone up till a place to say that if someone is found below expectations on the leadership competencies, we actually but maybe exceeding and awesome on business competencies, we reduce person's ratings.
Hmm.
We consider that strong talent in the organization. So it is all important. So it is a comprehensive leader that we're looking for. We're looking for business performance. We're looking for leadership, development, and we're looking for values. All three of them. So I'm so glad that you asked us this question.
I know. I think everyone in India remembers Godrej for its values. Megha, it goes without saying. I think this is one company, a group, I think, conglomerate. I would say it's no longer. I mean, it has been a conglomerate. It continues to be. I think the way it stood on the pedestal of the morality, on the ethics, and the governance, especially. I think even when there are, I think the way the family business is being run and all those issues. But I think the way it stood and it portrays the rest of the world, definitely India is a I think it's absolutely quite interesting. Now, one related question to related to talent management, Megha, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that I think quite often we get to hear, some biases or judgments getting into your evaluation. For example, let's say you have a 3, 4 business leaders, and then definitely they are the people who are supposed to be, the spotting the talent and then rating them, assessing them, all this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, there might be, I don't know, I mean, that's the research has always shown that despite our best effort, there might be possible a possibility of some biases getting into your evaluation. Maybe for variety of reasons. It can be because somebody's from your geography, somebody's from your alma mater, or gender basis, or maybe you worked with earlier companies. So something other bias might be possibly there. Now, how do you neutralize past? Because of course, for that to happen, you must be having a very objective mechanism. So therefore, something that can be measurable and which can neutralize any possible biases. So therefore, that can also build some sort of, not some sort of, I would say, a very credible, system into the place itself, Megha.
No, and again, a very good question. So, how it happens is that, for example, if I have to take the example of a talent war room, a manager is coming and his or her team member, right? And the panel includes 4, 5 people. So, there will be people from HR, there will be people from that person's function. So, it will
Right.
be the skip level manager or a pretty senior manager sitting there. And there will also be a neutral function there. So if even if it's a salesperson coming in, there will be, for example, a business head sitting there who's listening to the person's details, leadership competencies, on business performance, on values, and then kind of saying whether that person also believes. Now, after 3 people or 4 people giving a judgment on a person, also it is possible that some kind of bias may creep in. Now, for that, we do some bit of measures, like we try and always keep diversity even at a team level. So for example, if a manager is coming from a organization X and getting a lot of employees from the same organization, we don't allow for some of those things. So we really work around to maintain diversity so that fairness in the organization is maintained. um,
So, very good. Well, I think I'm sure that's what actually what was so interesting is the talent war room slide that you put it up. I think that's something very interesting practice, Megha, and congratulations to you and all of your people. That to a large extent, somebody would be amenable to the idea that I'm responsible not just to my reporting manager, but to the wider people in the company, the business people. When you have these 4 or 5 people who are coming from different cross-functional teams and assessing them, that is a great signage there. Now, other question related to this one is that I think I can be wrong, but then the video that you've shown, I think we are trying to look at least I was trying to look at the age differences, from the point of view of the generational gap. So, having said that, I think you have the top leadership team, right, and then you have the people who are just joining into. So, one is what can be your typical composition of the age diversity. It can be, I think I don't think you will have, maybe very senior people might be baby boomers. Then you have Gen X, Gen Ys, and I think and Gen Zers. I think of course you look at the millennials as well. So I'm sure you will have to deal with all these three, four generations together. But that's one. Another, how do you, what is your typical, the age, I won't say disparity, but that the generational gap that you will have. And the question therefore is that how do you build that generational gap? Because the people who are coming into the system will have a different lenses, and they will view this business completely a different way, because maybe they might be coming with experience. That's one part of it. And the people who are there at the top, they have seen a different altogether, different experience altogether. So therefore, they end up looking at the business from their lenses point. That's one. The second thing is the second question related to this generational diversity, right, is in terms of the fact that this generation, especially the Gen Zers, Megha, they're supposed to have not just one but maybe two, three careers. Unlike our, maybe we might be having about 1.5 to 2 careers in our generation. Our senior elder generation, they had only one career for the rest of the life, right? But this generation, I think they're coming into the workforce with at least 3 to 4 career possibilities, right? So therefore, how do you deal with them? Because it's not that glamorous industry, all said and done, with all due respect, the real estate. I think it's a front loaded with a lot of a lot of regulations as such, right? And of course, when it comes to construction, that's again you have the different what is a business idea altogether. So how do you deal with this? I would say a dichotomy.
Again, very relevant questions. So I think the first one I'll talk about first, the generational diversity. So generational diversity for us happens very automatically. So, if you have to, we hire from different sources, right? So we have civil engineers, and you would understand that, the growth path of engineers is very different as compared to management graduates, right? So we have a lot of different age groups that coexist in the organization together. However, we are very different from being a organization which is representing a group which is 127 years old, and even the organization is almost 3 decades into its being. We have an extremely young senior leadership. So our management committee, the average age is around 45 years. And similarly, if you go down our zonal executive committee, the middle management executive committee is also the average age is quite young. It comes from the place because we are someone who are looking at talent from a potential and performance lens. We're not looking at growth of leaders from a tenure or age lens. Right. Whoever is great and who has the potential to grow makes it to the top, and that's the a culture, high performance in the organization. Now, multi generational population exists with us, and how do we tie them all together? Is again the deep value of respect. I would not be kidding out here, but we are extremely careful about how people are dealing with each other. We have 360-degree feedbacks that happen on an annual basis in the organization. A result comes for every person. Over multiple years, we actually track how their feedback has been going through a scorecard method. If we kind of feedback through our continuous listening programs or any other mechanism, informal or formal, we actually conduct investigations to understand how much of it is true or false. Right. So we invest a lot deeply in terms of ensuring that respect in the organization is maintained across all levels, irrespective of age, caste, creed, religion, gender, sexuality, etc. And we have actually taken calls of letting people go if not behaved respectfully with our team members. So this general thing of saying that sales mein ye chalta hai, nahi chalta, very clear about it, कि नहीं चलता है, and we are growing by ensuring that वो नहीं चलता है. right? So that is the first part of how we are managing the generational diversity about it. The second part, and you said you actually kind of put it very nicely to say that, it's not a sector which is like a mainstream sector. And how do we get talent? We actually hire from the best management and graduate institutes. We have IITians joining us. We have graduates from all management institutes joining. I think two things that we do very right is first having the high performance culture.
Hmm.
Right. So people who have joined us, if they're good, they have seen growth happening for them. Right. The organization has grown, which means, when you have grown by 2,000 people in the last 2 years, which means so many new and senior roles got created. So, the canvas got expanded. People who were good at a very young age have got good opportunities and good leadership roles in the organization. The organization creates wealth for people, right? So our variable pay programs are much interesting in terms of employees see bit of hard work in the sector, right? So I can very safely say here that we run one of the one of the best variable pay programs in India overall.
Okay.
Talent would feel happy and recognized about putting in that amount of effort into the organization. I think the third thing is that, through some of these global exposures on Learning Academy, etc., we also ensure that they don't feel left out in what they expect any kind of organization at a global level to give to them. Right. So we try and ensure all of these pieces. We try and ensure that they get careers. The culture is such. We ensure that they feel compensated well. They are growing, and then they also get exposures from a learning perspective. So I think that's those are the things that we try and look at how talent is growing.
Very good. I have one last question for you today for today evening, Megha. And again, related to what you use the word, I think you use the word now grow, and that's growth part of it. Now you would have seen in your career, and definitely in this company itself, or in a Godrej group companies. Now, when people enter any company, they have their own growth expectations, right? And therefore, now somebody wants to go too fast and too quickly, and too quickly. That's one. And somebody wants to have that natural progression. It takes about maybe 2 3 years to go to the next level, and then you have a lifetime of career. It's not that you'll have to hit the deck in just about next. Not you don't have to be in the corner suit in just next 5 years. But then you will have seen different people coming with a different quote unquote growth expectations. So the question, I mean, the question from your HR, being HR head for all of your life has been, how do you manage expectations? How do you set expectation for people so therefore they have the rightful expectations? Nothing wrong in growing fast, but then but definitely every company has its own natural progression, right? And of course you can make some leeways once in a while, but that exception cannot be the norm for everyone. So from that perspective, how do you manage the expectation of people so that they are absolutely grounded, but at the same time they're absolutely pragmatic when it comes to the fact that, okay, I'm going to be rewarded as and when I perform, because like you rightly said, perform high performance culture.
Dr. Chaudhary, it is an ongoing, struggle on some of these things. The employee expectations are always much higher, and when you have a high performance culture and people see some people growing and them not growing, it becomes even more difficult, right? So, how do we handle it? We handle it with the place of fairness. We actually try and avoid exceptions as much as possible. We have very clear guidelines laid down how people get promoted and how people get different roles in the organization. And we try to comply to them without, taking any exceptions there. We have actually faced a lot of pressure because the sector typically otherwise has a lot of grades. So this, or that's how most of the organizations do. They will have 20, 25 grades and they will keep promoting people. We strongly believe in the fact of having a flat organization because we want it to be non-bureaucratic and we want the organization to be agile and able to speak to each other on a very one-to-one basis and take decisions much faster. And that which means actually people will not have so many promotions coming their way. So A, we follow our guidelines and we're very clear about those. B, because the overall organization performs, every individual gets a good output of the input that they bring into the organization. See, through some of these places like Talent War Room, etc., we are really working to give people careers, right? So, like if I have to say, these 266 employees otherwise wouldn't have really found a, this is actually, the junior levels of the organization, and I brought that data here because that's the place most of the times we are finding it difficult to do some of our talent programs, right? So we have also come to a place to say that we can only do as much as possible in terms of providing careers to people at a particular rate. When the high performance space is to be maintained, you can be fair to employees who do well, who deserve these roles, and you can still be fair to employees who need a little more time by compensating them in the right manner, so that they are also getting, so an employee who is, probably not getting that kind of a fast growing track is still getting exposure to a global training program, right? Is still getting an exposure to having a fair compensation, having a good variable pay scheme, being part of the growth journey of a high growth organization. Employee value proposition, there is something for everyone out there. Uh, 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 Overall, employees really value the learning experience they get at Godrej Properties, and it's extremely well known that if someone has spent some time at Godrej Properties, they actually get extremely good offers outside in the market, and that's how we are being the talent shapers in the industry, and being part of the talent marketplace.
Thank you so much. I think with your permission, I'm taking one last question. This is from Bhavna Sharma, Megha. And her question is, how do you handle absconding employees?
Absconding employees are handled in the similar way that we handle a lot of difficult cases otherwise also. Our rules in terms of dealing with integrity issues are very strict. It's a 0-100 case. We don't 0-1 case. We don't actually take a middle path there. And if an employee is absconding, we try to get in touch with the employee, and that's the process we kind of follow. One another piece, and we have done it at various times, is also to try to understand the reason of why and what happened. Actually, it's a rare circumstance, but in our cases, we actually got our absconded employees back as employees, because we found some some particular reasons which are not working in the team, because of which the employee kind of absconded. And a lot of times I myself get in touch with employees to try and understand what actually happens. See, the thing is that as the organization grows, it's not possible to ensure that we are able to do this for every single employee, but our commitment is that we will do it as much as possible and ensure that any employee who reaches out will definitely be heard out. Right? So that's the way we try to run the organization.
Thank you so much, Megha. I think we have overshot your time, but an absolute pleasure having you. And with, I think it's one of the very candid conversation, coming from the CHRO of a company, and especially conglomerate, and especially coming from Godrej is absolutely refreshing, and people get to see and how. It is not just being in the industry for a long time, but also coming to the industry with some of the best practices, like you rightly said, that we want to be career shapers and not just followers kind of thing. But I'm sure there might be quite a few more industry best practices that Godrej is known for, not just Godrej Properties, but Godrej as a conglomerate as such. But thank you so much for your time, and also congratulations to you and your team. I think some of these practices are absolutely worth celebrating in the HR, and not just in this industry, but also rest of the company as well. I mean, rest of the industries and rest of the companies as well. And from all of us, once again, Megha, thank you so much, and giving us your time, especially on a Saturday evening, Megha.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much. I have interaction and the questions. It made me reflect as well. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.